This is the Oecs Newslink, a roundup of major news happening across the Oecs today. In the headlines, the Oecs Commission's third Caribbean NDC Investment Forum and Marketplace addresses the region's need to invest in clean renewable energy. The government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines recently welcomed distinguished leaders and delegates to the fourth meeting of the Oecs Economic Affairs Council. Welcome to the weekly edition of the Oecs Newslink. I am Jacques Hinkson Compton. The Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, or Oecs Commission, hosted the third Caribbean NDC Investment Forum and Marketplace in Grenada. Addressing the region's need to invest in clean and renewable energy, the forum's theme was aptly titled Investing in Climate Action for a Resilient Future. Minister for Climate Resilience, the Environment, and Renewable Energy, the Honorable Karen James, illustrates the function of the forum.
The NDC Investment Forum, ladies and gentlemen, aims not only to catalyze investments in resilient infrastructure, but also to strengthen the mechanisms by which we can access both public and private climate finance, integrating a range of stakeholders, including private sector, into the process. Honorable Ministers, esteemed colleagues, distinguished guests, there is no Caribbean without integrating climate resilience into every facet of our national and regional sustainable development transformation.
The forum comes at a pivotal time as the Caribbean continues to grapple with the accelerating impacts of climate change. Team lead for the climate finance country and private sector engagement of UN climate change, Dr. Grant Kirkman, credited the region's leadership.
Your leadership exemplifies the Caribbean's determination to rise above the challenges of the climate crisis. This region stands at a crossroads, vulnerable yet resolute. From bolstering early warning systems to restoring ecosystems, the Eastern Caribbean in particular is forging a path of resilience that inspires us all.
The Oecs recognizes the urgent need to invest in clean and renewable energy to mitigate greenhouse gas emissions and to reduce dependency on imported fossil fuels, lower energy costs, and strengthen energy security across the region. Meanwhile, the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines welcomed distinguished regional leaders and delegates to the fourth meeting of the Oecs Economic Affairs Council. The meeting highlighted key discussions on regional integration, sustainable development, and economic growth amidst global challenges. Remarks delivered by Director General of the Oecs, Dr. Didicus Jules, focused on climate concerns, economic volatility, and crises.
Our dependence on a narrow range of economic activities, particularly tourism, has rendered us vulnerable, as the COVID-19 pandemic starkly revealed. The Oecs Development Strategy Action Framework responds with a blueprint for diversification across 10 high-potential sectors, including renewable energy, digital transformation, blue economy, and technology.
Minister for Finance, Economic Planning, and Information Technology of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Honorable Camilo Gonzalez, assumed the role of Chair of the Economic Affairs Council.
The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank has identified three major threats to our collective economic prospects. One, climate-related risks, like further hurricanes, sea level rise, drought, erosion, and the like. Second one is obviously the uncertainty in the U.S. economy related to the policy shifts under the administration of President Trump, and the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and Didicus have spoken to those. And third, they identify the volatility in revenue from citizenship by investment programs, upon which a few countries in our region place very heavy reliance.
For the full story, visit the press room on the Oecs website, or to view the live stream of the opening ceremony, visit the Oecs YouTube channel. Tourism ministers of the region endorsed the Oecs Common Sustainable Policy 2025 to 2035 at the 8th meeting of the Oecs Council of Ministers for Tourism. See this video for more details.
begin the exercise, I think the most
His Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen.
position ourselves.
Well, this meeting here we have been focusing on the sustainable tourism policy for the Oecs. It's a policy that was in the making a very long time, and we have finally endorsed this policy today. And we are hoping that our brothers and sisters in the Oecs will adopt this policy, align it with their program of work in the region, and so that all of us will be on the same page as we forge ahead in terms of the tourism industry.
People make these comments. Some very important issues were discussed, particularly looking at the challenges within the tourism sector, how we can leverage as a regional bloc a number of the initiatives that we're putting forward here as the Oecs, and how we can collaborate a bit more in streamlining our tourism policies and initiatives. And it was really an important discussion to move tourism forward and to ensure that we leverage all of the gains that we have been experiencing here within the Oecs as part of our initiatives within tourism. I'm indeed happy that St. Vincent and the Grenadines as hosts welcomed this meeting, and of course facilitated this important part of our development within the tourism sector within the region.
The Oecs identified the critical issue of financing for small island developing states, or SIDS, as a key gap in their transition to sustainable energy during the Sustainable Energy for All, or C4All, Global Forum in Barbados. Julius Gittins has more.
Straight on the heels of a successful staging of the third Oecs Council of Ministers Energy meeting in Bastille St. Kitts, at which the Oecs Decade of Action for Sustainable Energy Development was launched, some of those same ministers found themselves here in Barbados, making a global case for attention, investment, and assistance.
The cost of electricity in the Caribbean is among the highest in the world, averaging 40 US cents per kilowatt hour. Dr. James Fletcher, CARICOM climate envoy and a former St. Lucian government minister, underscores how this dependency on imported fossil fuels leaves the region vulnerable to global oil market volatility.
We are probably the region in the world that is most dependent on imported fossil fuels. I think it's over 80%, where the global average is a lot less than that. And we are so exposed to volatilities in the oil market. Anytime something happens in the Middle East or somewhere where supply chains are disrupted, we feel it in our pockets. We have to pay more.
And one of the key issues that has emerged time and again in the discussions in the plenary and in the sidelines of this global forum, the vexed question of finding the mega bucks to produce megawatts. The question of finance.
How do we, who are disproportionately affected by the effects of climate change, how do we move forward to adapt, to make ourselves resilient when we simply do not have the capital outlay that will allow us to level the playing field? And so there needs to be, as we have discussed, some level of justice, climate justice, to ensure that we are not left behind.
Thanks for joining us for the Oecs Newslink. Don't forget to follow these stories on Oecs social media and our website, oecs.int.